So the reason why we're having less children is because, and that's not true. If you look at third world countries, for example, they have more children even though they can't afford it.
Yeah, expand on that.
Which means then that cost effectiveness is not a factor in how many children you should have.
Right, well, yeah, I'm from a council estate, 6 kids, loads of pets, nobody working. You know, they had lots of kids for whatever their reasons were.
No, but cultures which are significantly poorer tend to have more children.
Yeah, and why, do you know why that is?
Because culture determines childbearing?
No, because in the cultures that I'm guessing you're talking about,
India, Pakistan,
Ireland,
Nigeria.
Ireland.
Pardon?
Ireland.
Ireland has a very low population.
No, but traditionally, in
fact, it hasn't still recovered from its famine days. So.
Right. Okay. So the point I'm making is, if
culture determines child rates.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the culture that we're talking about, where child rates are high, is okay. Let's have lots of kids because lots of them die. In the conditions that those people are living in.
No, because even if you look at India and Pakistan, their population pyramids were still significantly high, even considering their infant mortality rate. So my problem is that if you look across the spectrum of economics, it seems like the determining factor of childbearing is not economics, whether it's feasible to have children, but rather culture. So right now, we do not have a strong religious culture in which childbearing is on it.
Do you think the state should be able to dictate how many children you have?
No, but I think the state should give tax breaks and should give financial... Incentivize it.
Which is on the scale of, right? It's a characterist thing. It's saying you should...
it fosters a culture.
We would like to bring you this way. It's the state drawing you in a direction, right? Which is a softer way of saying you must.
No.
Right? Look what happened in China. They said, you must.
How are you comparing the two-child policy to tax breaks for having children?
In all fairness, one of the objectives of the state is to carry on the sovereignty, which you need a population for. Right. So it is in the state's incentive to want to encourage.
Look, for example, Japan is currently, for every one young person, they need to care for 3 elderly people. Yeah. And in South Korea, that's terrible.
That's just longevity. We've got more old people here now than we've ever had.
Exactly. And what's happening in Japan and South Korea is what's going to happen in the West when we have old people outpopulate younger people. And that then means that we have a social welfare collapse, in which case we don't have enough social care workers to take care of the elderly.
Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah.
Lovely chatting.
That's not capitalism.
It is.
It's not capitalism.
It's a huge part.
It's not capitalism. And that's why we need to make sure that we're having children in order not to rely on immigration.
In order to not do what?
Pardon?
In order to not do what?
In order to not rely on immigration.
Right. Why not just have both?
Well, because I would prefer for us to have more children and not essentially extinct ourselves.
Extinct ourselves?
We are becoming extinct. Look at London. 36.8% of London is now white British.
36.8% of London is now white British.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and that doesn't even include the Boris wave that came in.
So what?
We're going extinct in our own country.
We're going extinct in the sense that like there won't be white people left.
There won't be the native white British people left. That's what's going to happen.
So what?
That's our ancestry. That's our homeland. We should be preserving that.
You know, the land and the ancestry still all exist, even if other people come.
Well, yeah, but that's essentially saying that you have empty buildings to represent a history. But I would rather a people to survive, right? I mean, if you look at what we like, do you favour multiculturalism?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why you do is because you like different cultures, right? Mixing in together. Okay, cool. Is not one culture the native culture of this land?
I mean, you know, there are nuanced questions about what it means for a culture to be native, but I get your point.
Yeah. Okay. Point being is it's inconsistent for your position to be of multiculturalism to say that we must have this conjunction of different cultures, then say that we don't care about what happens to the native culture of this land. And the people is what preserves the culture. And I'll tell you this, the example would just be migration. People bring in their culture through migrating to different lands. You agree with that as well. So the people is what preserves a culture. If you want multiculturalism, that therefore means that you must preserve this culture.
Yeah, but you know, like I have loads and loads of like Muslim friends who are British Muslim, but they're British.
Yeah, but,
They're as British as
but do you know
anyone
why?
else.
Do you know
They
this?
just have brown skin.
British Muslim is a perfect example of why I don't believe
Well,
multiculturalism
so,
works.
just to be clear, a lot of the ones I have in mind aren't actually Muslims because they deviated so much.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
their parents,
Integration.
They're not religiously
Okay,
Muslim
integration means that their system, their framework of thinking, their culture, their everything is assimilated, is kind of put into this British homeland. Now, if they have to change their beliefs in order to make it more compatible, that then means that it's not something that has integrated, it has changed. And that's why I believe that
People
Islam...
have integrated is the point.
No,
The
no,
people have
no. The
integrated.
idea, I don't believe that people who are Muslim can integrate with the West.
I've just told you that I know people.
No,
that do
they've
it.
changed. They're not Muslim anymore.
Yeah.
They're drinking, they're having girlfriends.
Oh yeah, no, but they also like.
They're no longer a Muslim,
no,
my friend.
but they also like.
They've had to
engage-
change their religion.
The measure of Britishness to have drinks and girlfriends.
No.
Shag and booze,
No.
yeah.
My point being is that if they have to come here and then change their beliefs, that means that
Well,
they're
it just
not
happens-
integrated,
it kinda
they've
happens
changed.
naturally.
That
That is what. But that kind of.
No.
part-
And there are also lots
that
Why
part
do you
is
think
what
they're doing
integration
these
is.
things? Why do you think they're not marrying kids and having sex with their cousins? Well, that's what Islam teaches, my
Because they
friend.
go. So in the case of the people that I'm thinking about, they went to school. They went to school with lots of other different kinds of people.
Yeah, and
So
and
we're
they've
much more like
decided
them.
to change
I'm not
their
sure-
culture
I'm not
to
sure
something
whether-
that's more appropriate to what they've been
I'm
born
not
in.
sure when you're that young, it's like a decision like you sit down and you make a pro and cons list of like Muslim and British
not when
culture.
you're 12.
No, that's what
Obviously
you're
not.
doing unintentionally.
It's a process,
because you're seeing
mate. It's a process.
Islam, and Islam
Fucking hell.
teaches the most despicable things, in my opinion. And you look at the West, and they say, "Well, I'm going to do this instead of this." That's not integration. That's change.
So the people have.
Point
the
being
people
is,
are
I don't
integrated.
believe Islam is compatible with the West because it can't be in the West without changing itself.
So the thing is, you're mixing up two things, right? You're talking about the religion and then the people.
No,
I'm talking about the people.
Yeah, no,
I don't
yeah,
care.
and I
don't really
agree.
give a shit.
If these
Muslims that come here
people are
stop being Muslim,
changing
I
their
don't care.
religion,
You want to preserve the Church of England.
no, I want to preserve the true church.
But the thing is,
No,
but
I
there's
think
a contradiction in what you're saying.
I think that King Charles should go back to his Eastern Orthodox roots and completely remove the Church of England as the Church of the state and make it Eastern Orthodox.
So you believe in cultural evolution? Then?
No,
Oh, well, you just.
no, I said he should go back to his roots, back to his Eastern Orthodox roots. No, that's a backward step. That's going back. Okay, so the Church of England allowing for the ordination of female priests is there. Then the Eastern Orthodox Church is here. He's going back to his roots.
So here's a question. You were talking about immigration, right?
Yeah.
And I just, as an example, just people, it's anecdotal, the people that I know, and I know there are a lot of them as well, it's not just people I know, that are of Muslim like heritage, but like kind of lose touch with parts of their religion and become
changing
like,
it.
fully rich. Yeah. So thing is, if the people can come and change in the way that you think is like morally good, why would you not let them come here?
Because my problem is this: that well, firstly, the ones that we don't let here are the ones who aren't changing. For the ones who are, they're no longer Muslim, which is not my problem. Now, for the ones who aren't, that's the problem I have.
What about people who,
And even then, them changing their religion is just an act of dishonesty. They're trying to do it. So, for example, in Speaker's Corner here, you'll try to see people trying to defend child marriage within the park in such a way in which it doesn't directly address the fact that their religion allows to do so. So there's several points. Firstly, people change their religion in order to infiltrate and try to indoctrinate people into their beliefs.
you think the people that I'm talking about are doing?
No, I'm talking about people in the park.
Oh, right.
For your friends who are doing,
Yeah, but I mean, mate,
for- and- and for those, for those, for those,
like, this does not represent the whole country.
No,
like,
but-
you can't use this as
no,
evidence.
but there have been people here who have been radicalized by Andrew Trojan.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. You can't use.
But
this as
those are
evidence
people.
about the state
Andrew
of the-
Taljik's never been to Speaker's Corner, but he's radicalizing people here in Speaker's Corner.
You can't use the shit that's going on here, where it's full of freaks. Me included.
Yes, I can, because
as evidence
how many
about what's
cameras
going
are
on in
there?
the whole country.
How many cameras are there?
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Okay, so
1, 2,
the
3, 4, 5,
okay,
6, 7, count phones,
and
8.
they're on how many platforms? He's on X, he's on YouTube, he's probably on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. And my point being is that if we have Muslims who are intentionally changing
There are
their
small
religion,
communities
one
of
second.
weirdos, mate.
So there are several Muslims here who have attacked me, who have mugged me, who have stolen my things.
Oh yeah, that's all bad.
Hold on, who have been radicalized by Andrew Trojan. Then, and the reason why they're changing their religion, or rather weakening their rhetoric, is out of the act of trying to radicalize people in a position of comfort. Now, for those people, they're equally as wrong as the people who don't change their religion for the sake of coming here into the West. Now,
Repeat the last thing again, sorry. Say it again.
for those people who are lying to themselves,
Why are they lying to themselves?
well, they're lying to themselves in trying to weaken the rhetoric of their religion to then make people radicalize into their religion. And for those people, they're just as worse are the ones who won't change their religion.
Yeah, but mate, I'm not talking about...
Yeah,
people that
hold
are
on,
here.
I'll get into those group of people in a minute.
You need to do it really quickly.
Okay, and for those people that you're talking about, the ignorant Muslims who go out to the pubs, who drink, who have girlfriends, they're no longer Muslim. They've completely changed themselves.
Yeah.
They have integrated well, but it's no longer integration. They've completely removed their Islamic roots.
So when people talk about integration, they're talking about people integrating. And by the way, there's a spectrum, right, between someone who like fully renounces their faith and like boozes and drinks and eats pork and has girlfriends, and you know maybe loses.
No, because they've apostated from the faith. No, as soon as they do that, they are saying that the laws prescribed to them. Hold on. No. It's not a spectrum. It's not a spectrum. Because as soon as you say this religion, which is given to us by Almighty God, this legislation that God has revealed to us, I'm no longer going to follow. That proves to me that you no longer take your religion sincerely enough to believe it's from God.
It's not just religion, right? Because like obviously we're using the word Muslim, but what we're talking about really is like a broader cultural phenomenon. Because you can have Muslims or like people from Muslim families that renounce elements of the faith, renounce elements of the.
You're the next job.
You don't know, you just picked him up.
They renounce.
Yeah. I'm expecting a bit of
They renounce elements of the faith, but they say keep touch with Arabic. Maybe they don't eat pork. Like we've all. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
They're just Arabic then. They're not Muslim.
Yeah, but you have a problem with immigration as a whole. So all this is
No,
relevant.
okay, so I have an issue with immigration as a whole.
I
But
know
the
you do, mate.
reason
I can
why
tell
I
by
do.
your tats.
But
It's dog shit, mate. It's lots of dog shit.
what's wrong with the message? Prioritise Britain.
He thinks that if an equal number of immigrants come into this country with just women and children,
Yeah.
everything will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you not then vilify those men and say, well, you
I don't
still
think
have
kids are
women
typically
and
raping
children on
people.
this? Like
Yeah, no. They've kind of seized on a convenient bit of data. Yeah.
I don't.
How is that convenient? So if you look, for example, the Parliament of 2020, if you look at prior to Brexit, we had the Dublin Trade Agreement, in which case we had a low amount of immigrants because they couldn't take advantage of a poor system. Now, because the Conservatives cocked it up in terms of a Brexit agreement, and because Nigel refused to work with the Conservatives for a good Brexit agreement, what you saw is men taking advantage of a broken system. Now, I don't blame the immigrants, although I will blame the ones that commit crimes against the native British population. What I will do is firstly blame the NGOs in Calais for facilitating their transport to Dover, and I will blame the British government, both the Conservatives and the Labour Party, for cocking up immigration for how they performed on Brexit, and for refusing to remove the pull factors of immigration. So for example, dependencies on work and student visas. Because that's how most agencies get people here illegally.
One of the main pull factors for people coming here from like third world countries is that we speak English.
Okay.
So
So do other most European countries, and I don't see. Hold on. How is
you say that? I don't know.
how is someone who's Somalian who doesn't speak good English? How is a pull factor of them coming to the UK the fact that they speak English?
So we speak English
Yeah.
because they can communicate with other people in society and it makes their life.
They have broken English.
Yeah, they have broken English, right? But like we have quote unquote perfect English, which is better than going to like Germany or Hungary. I mean France, like in places that are not like urban centres and stuff, often don't speak English.
No, but the people
And
they're
in
dealing
fact,
with,
actually,
the people they're dealing
in most
with, like
European
NGOs,
countries
they have
outside-
translators.
What, sorry?
Okay, so NGOs, the people that they deal with, they'll either have
They
translators.
don't want to rely on like having an NGO translator around for every single.
But why? You're fleeing
conversation they
persecution. If you're fleeing persecution, I don't care how uncomfortable you are that you can't communicate with the people that well. If you are between going to a European country that speaks French to a country that you could be killed in, which one would you prefer?
But the whole point that you seem to have missed is that that isn't the option because they can go to lots of different countries.
Okay, so you admit that there are multiple options for people to claim asylum.
So we for the last like 2 minutes, I've been explaining to you why it is they come to the UK. So
What, because they speak English?
You can't do this whole bit where it's like, so you admit that there's lots of places and they do
No,
come
no,
to
no.
the UK.
What I'm saying is-
telling you they come here because
You've
they speak
admitted there is a
English.
pull factor. I don't care about pull factors.
Why did you bring them up?
Is it the alarm? Yeah. Wait, can I see?
Oh my God.